Welcome to the Kestrel Nexus Evals project. We're excited to have you here. In this video, we'll go over a few tips to help you navigate the platform and get started on the project. Let's jump in. As mentioned in the course, this project is completed across two platforms, SRT and Outlier. First, let's go over where to find the permalink. This link connects the two platforms, so you get proper credit for your work. On SRT, scroll to the bottom left of the screen and click the button labeled Permalink, just like the one shown here. Once you click the Permalink button, a window will pop up showing the link. Make sure to copy this permalink, not the browser link, so you have the correct one. After copying the permalink, go to the Outlier task and paste it into the box at the top, just like you see on the screen. Now let's take a look at a task on the SRT platform. The SRT screen is divided into three parts. The first part of the task is on the left side of the screen, where you'll find the permalink. It's located at the bottom of this section, labeled with the 1 in the video. In this image, you can see exactly where this section is on the SRT platform. At the top of the left section, you'll see the chat history. Right below that are the questions and justification fields you'll need to complete for the SRT task. In section 2, or the middle of the screen, you'll see the user prompt and the model's response. On the right side of the SRT task, you'll find the citations. We'll cover these in more detail in the course. Now let's look at the Outlier side of the task. You'll see similar questions there, and it's important to select the correct answers on both platforms. This is called a mirrored task. You're working across two platforms, but it counts as one task. The easiest way to stay consistent is to answer one question at a time, while switching between platforms to make sure your responses match. At the top of the Outlier task, you'll see the project instructions and a few guidelines. Once you've reviewed those, scroll down to continue. Next, you'll see the field to add the permalink. First, click the checkbox to confirm that you have the link. Once that's done, the text box will appear. Paste the permalink there, then click Save and Continue. On both the SRT platform and the Outlier side of the task, you'll start by selecting whether the task can be reviewed or not. If you select No, the rejection options will appear. Make sure to choose the most accurate reason and provide a clear justification. There are a few different rejection options you may see. If large portions of the task are in a language you can't understand, you can reject it for language proficiency. If the task requires specialized knowledge that you don't have, select subject matter expertise. If the user prompt is completely nonsensical and impossible to evaluate, you should reject it for being gibberish. If the task contains personally identifiable information, such as names, addresses, or phone numbers, you should reject it for PII. And if there's a technical issue preventing you from completing the task, select tooling issues. Rejection reasons are updated regularly, so always check the instructions before you begin tasking. Let's go over a task that would not be rejected. You will have several ratings you need to make. The first type you'll evaluate is helpfulness. If the response meets all the criteria and there are no issues, select Yes. If there are mistakes, select No. Then choose the specific helpfulness subdimension that failed. You'll also need to explain your reasoning in the box below. Next, you'll check honesty. This step requires careful attention because there are multiple parts to consider. Be sure to read the instructions closely to avoid missing any details. If the response contains a factual error, you'll also need to select the type of hallucination the model produced. These hallucination types are explained further in the course and written instructions. Honesty always requires a justification, whether or not mistakes are found. The instructions also provide more details about rejection reasons and how to write a clear explanation when accepting or rejecting a task. On the screen, you can see the instructions section for honesty. At any time, you can pause the video to read more or go directly to the instructions. The link is provided in the course if you don't already have it bookmarked. Once you've completed your selections and justification for honesty, you'll move on to harmlessness. In this dimension, check the response for any safety issues. If you find a problem, write a clear and concise justification explaining why the response fails. If there are no issues, simply continue to the next step. Since you'll be writing many justifications on this project, here's a quick reminder. Your explanations should clearly explain the issue without being too long. Focus on why the response failed instead of restating it. Only use direct quotes when necessary. Since the response is available on SRT through the permalink, you can assume the reader can refer to it. Make sure each justification is specific to the response. Avoid copying and pasting explanations. Clearly state which dimension the response fails and why. Instead of simply saying not factual, or response is misleading, provide details on what is incorrect or missing. Your explanation should make it clear why the response does not align with the required criteria. Now, with justifications completed, let's move on to the final question in the task. Does the response meet all the criteria for language matching? The response should use only the languages that are appropriate based on the user's prompt and chat history. To determine what's allowed, check what language the user uses or seems comfortable with. If both English and another language appear in the conversation, both are usually acceptable. If the user asks for a response in a specific language, that language should be included. If you're unsure about a word's language, you can check with Google Translate, but only for 1 or 2 words at a time. It's also fine for responses to include movie titles or technical terms in English. Once you've identified the allowed languages, make sure the response only uses those. If it does, select yes. If it includes other languages that weren't allowed, select no. Keep in mind that language issues are only evaluated in this question. That brings us to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. We hope this helped you feel more confident working through formatting judgment tasks. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your QM team through the community channels. Some updates to the rejection reasons are still in progress, so be sure to read the task instructions carefully before starting each one. We appreciate your time, and good luck!